welcome to the VIEW program. I'm Aaliyah Fullwood, one of the case managers for the VIEW program, and my goal today is to review everything you need to know to be successful in the VIEW program and get a full-time job. If there's any questions you have while watching this video, please feel free to write them down on the blank piece of paper that's been provided, and your worker will be sure to answer them at the conclusion of this video. Let's get started. So, how did you get referred to the VIEW program, you may ask? Well, when you were approved for Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, you evidently were considered ready and able to work. And that's what the goal of this program is, for you to find a job and keep a job so you can support you and your family. In the receptionist area, you should have been given a few forms to complete. The first form is the VIEW Assessment 1 and 2. Once completed, it serves as a mini resume and helps us match you to a job. Please check now to make sure you have left nothing blank. The only section you may skip is the target group status on the front of this form. One area that is often misunderstood is the area where we request the date you started your employment and the date you left employment. Please make sure this is correct. If you cannot remember the exact date, the month is fine. At the very least, we ask that you write which year you were employed and for how long. Another area that people often leave blank is on the back of the form and entitled Employment Goal. Please be specific and tell us what field you want to work in, such as administrative, food service, janitorial, etc. The next form is the Recruitment Registration Form. If you've completed the front and back of this form, it will be given to a Virginia Employment Commission representative, and then you will be officially registered with the Virginia Employment Commission. The next form is the Texas Information Sheet. This form has two sides which need to be completed also. This form is graded and you are given a score based on how many questions you can answer. If you cannot answer all the questions, don't worry. Your score will not affect your benefits or enrollment in this program. Some of you may have this additional form. It is not a mandatory assessment form, but it will give us some details about your living situation and what services may benefit you. Now that all of your initial paperwork is complete, you are ready to learn what your responsibilities will be in the VIEW program. Your worker should have given you a form that looks like this: Agreement of Personal Responsibility. I will read this form line by line so you can fully understand the program rules and opportunities before signing on the back. The next form I'd like to draw your attention to is the Notice of Intentional Program Violations and Penalties. This form may have been completed at the time you met with your eligibility worker, but I need you to review it again and sign at the bottom if you understand. The next form asks, do you have a disability? Please understand the term disability is used very loosely here. So that means if you are currently dealing with something that may prevent you from fully benefiting from participating in the program, your worker may be able to refer you for additional screening, make accommodations for you, and in some instances, decrease your required participation. For example, a person who can't fully participate because they speak no English, or who has a learning disability so can't understand agency letters, or suppose someone takes a prescription medicine which results in low energy, or suffers from depression. The list goes on and on. The only way we can offer you accommodations is if you tell us what you suspect is wrong, and then we'll go from there. Whatever you put on this form is confidential and will not affect you negatively. If you do not have any disability to report, you will be expected to complete at least 35 to 40 hours a week of a work activity. All work activities are recorded on an activity and service plan. As a result of new federal regulations effective October 1st, 2006, the VIEW program has been forced to implement many new changes and put more emphasis on program participants getting full-time jobs as soon as possible. The Activity and Service Plan now divides activities into three categories: core activities, non-core activities, and other work activities. If you are participating in a core activity for at least 35 to 40 hours per week, No other activity is required. Participants enrolled in non-core activities will be required to complete at least an additional 20 hours per week of a core activity. And those enrolled in one of the other work activities will be required to complete at least an additional 35 to 40 hours per week of a core and non-core activity. A participant must be employed at least 30 hours a week, making at least minimum wage to be considered full-time employed. And they must be working at least 10 hours a week at minimum wage to be considered part-time employed. For you, we just ask that you verify your employment and report any changes in hours or pay in a timely fashion. Some of you will enter straight into job search and job readiness for the first 30 days. For you, we ask that you leave applications and/or resumes with employers for the next 30 days. We ask that you record this information on a job search form. You will get plenty of help with job search by attending our job readiness course right here at JobLink. In this class, you will work according to your own pace, get help with a resume and cover letter, interviewing skills, GED preparation, etc. And you'll get job leads. Those participants completing job search and/or job readiness must increase their participation now to equal 35 to 40 hours per week. Only 6 weeks of job search or job readiness will count toward your VIEW participation for the entire fiscal year. Community service programs can now be assigned for 35 hours per week to meet VIEW participation requirements, and there is no longer a need to wait 90 days to be referred. If you participate in this activity, you will gain valuable work experience in the field of your choice. This will keep your skills current and look great on your resume. Employers prefer to hire people who are currently working, and community work experience and public service programs will accomplish that. If you can't find a job because of lack of job skills training or education, you may be eligible to enroll in job skills training or education and have the VIEW program pay for it. This must first be discussed with your worker. Vocational education and training is now limited too, and will be counted towards your VIEW participation requirement for no more than 12 months in a lifetime. Once you sign this activity and service plan, please remember that the exact number of hours you are required to participate must be completed each week, or you may lose your benefits. Of course, our desire is to see you become full-time employed, and those that get full-time jobs making minimum wage may now be eligible for a VIEW transitional payment totaling $50 per month after your TANF closes. That's right, an additional $50 each month in addition to your paycheck. On the second page of the activity and service plan, you may request supportive services. Daycare, transportation assistance in the form of tokens, bus pass, MetroCard, even gas vouchers may be requested. Other supportive services may include interview clothing, uniforms for work, and even tools. If you can't work without it, we will try and provide it. Finally, before asking for your signature at the bottom of this page, we ask that you understand the block that says Exchange of Information. This means that you give us authorization to contact employers, service agencies, medical practitioners, etc. Now that you know a little more about us and we know a little more about you, it's time to meet the other members of your team. Each team is made up of the eligibility worker who handles your food stamp, TANF, and Medicaid needs, the VIEW case manager who explains VIEW policy to you and monitors your program participation, the social worker who provides supportive services to you such as childcare, emergency